bringing you the breaking news as soon as it's out. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. That's all I got. Watch this video. I'm out. Peace.
Change whether he would take a pay cut. I mean, there are a lot of questions surrounding this, but now he got sort of the blessing of all blessings from Jerry Jones. Is it a good move for the Cowboys, do you think, to bring Dez back next season based on the year he had?
Well, the Cowboys, they don't get better if they just release Dez. They don't get better to replace his talent and the cap hit that they're going to have to take because it's hard to replace that kind of talent. Now, Jerry said him and Dez have history together. We're going to see how that history works out because the history is, regardless of, this will be the first time he's ever come to Dez and said, I want you to take less money to do a job. Dez said he didn't want to take less money, so they're going to have to work it out. I believe Dez will be a Dallas Cowboy. It's in his best interest because Jerry has a lot of capital invested in Dez Bryant. Not only in the salary that he's paid him, in the staffing, the people he's put around Dez Bryant. Dez has almost 24/7 people around the clock who watch him, people who call him, people getting him to the facility. Like, let's not forget the issues he had with Dez Bryant as a young player. So now as an unproductive veteran, I mean, how valuable is he to the Cowboys? Now, he's more valuable to the Cowboys than he is to other teams. So I believe Dez will understand and take the pay cut to continue playing with the Dallas. Because if he doesn't take the pay cut, I believe Jerry will walk away from him.
Wait, what do you mean he's more valuable to the Cowboys than to other teams?
Because the Cowboys know exactly what he can do. I believe he's a bigger asset in the locker room, to their quarterback, to Zeke. They know him. When you go someplace, you don't have history with those guys. Like, I believe he's a better asset for the Cowboys and is a better player than he would going somewhere else and learning a whole new system and a whole new environment.
And they've just invested time, money, and resources into him, as you allude to as well. Like, teams human beings, teams, general managers, whomever, in day-to-day life or in sports, have a hard time identifying what is a sunk cost and what is not. If you put a lot of time and money into something, you don't want to walk away from it. You want to see it work. You mentioned that you think they will be able to get him to take a pay cut. That, I would be surprised by that. I wouldn't be surprised if they move the money around to where he's getting the same amount of money. They just change the salary cap part of it. But I bet Dez's agent is doing the same thing I'm doing, which is looking at the available free agent wide receivers and saying, okay, if you cut me,
that's a huge gamble. That's a huge gamble when you start looking at the list because it's what value you bring to the team. Because these guys, do they have 3 poor years in a row with the Dallas Cowboys? So that list is relevant, but it's irrelevant to Jerry Jones as far as getting his team in when you slice up the pie, they can't give Dez that slice of the pie and continue to do business. They have other guys on their defense who need to be signed. Like, these are things that are trickle-down effect. Dez Bryant is not worth $12 million. I don't care what his agent says, and I don't care what who's on the list.
The point that I was trying to make is that and maybe you don't care, that if Dez were cut today, if the news we were talking about is Dez Bryant's been cut by the Cowboys, what I think everyone would agree is the best free agent wide receiver available is Dez Bryant. And the Cowboys, I think we also agree on this, even with Dez Bryant, need more help on the wide receiver position, need more explosive players on the outside. So if it's already a need, I just feel like the leverage might actually sit in Dez's camp rather than the Cowboys camp, because they know what the Cowboys need. They know that while he's slated to make 12.5, if they cut him, they don't get $12.5 million of cap relief. They get $4 million of cap relief. Like, I think they can do all those things and say, why would I take pay cut?
There is no logical person that's sitting around right now saying, you know who has the leverage in the Dallas Dez Bryant thing? Dez Bryant. No, you know the reason why? Because we got 3 years of film of him being an average receiver. All right? So that's not.
But the thing, my question is, how
it doesn't matter. Sometimes when your employer, when they want to get more salary cap room, they start looking at, wait, how do we get more money? Well, we're paying this guy $12 million. It's no free agent list that's going to have an effect on that. Like, this is looking at what they're doing, who they're paying, who are the most productive players, because those are the ones that warrant the biggest contracts. That's what he said. I've done this before. I've gone to players before. He is setting the stage telling us, I'm getting ready to go to Dez Bryant, just like other Cowboys players, and I'm going to ask them to work around the salary that we're paying him.
How do you get Dez Bryant to be better than he's been the last couple of years, especially if the first part of your conversation opens with, we're going to ask you to take less money?
You got to put him in the slot. You got to teach him a package where he is in the slot, and teams cannot just isolate him as the split end receiver to the boundary side. It's easier for teams to negate what he's going to do. It's far more predictable when he's outside than if you move him inside. There is no 40 games of tape on Dez Bryant playing in the slot because he's only played a little bit of it. So that's what I would do. I go back to the basics as far as his fundamentals, the things that got him this way, and I would add 1 or 2 routes to him. Another thing is, from a philosophy standpoint, you have to throw the ball down the field to Dez Bryant. You have to give him a couple 50-50 jump ball opportunities during the game. He is not a blazer down the sideline, so you have to give him an opportunity because that's what makes Dez a little bit different than the other receivers. His ability to be able to come up with those plays on the 50-50 ball.
To go up and win a jump ball. Like that's if you think of Dez Bryant highlights, very rarely is it him running free down the field. It's him running up high, pointing a ball, getting it. Now, most of those highlights, to CC's point, happened 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. But that is his skill set still there. And if he can turn into a good slot receiver.
I don't think it's good leverage when you tell Jerry, hey, Jerry, go back and watch me in 2014.
Right.
But it might be good leverage to say, go watch Eric Decker, because that's your number 1 receiver if you cut me.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Watch
Coming
what
up, is Kirk Cousins about to change the entire landscape of the NFC?
You had better leverage last week. If you had left the show last week, you might have been able to get something.
For Prescott. He has to spin out of a sack. 2 of them. Throws to the sideline. Bryant with a diving catch. Called inbounds. Inside the 25. And haven't been getting much from 88.
Yeah, and they had the pass interference, earlier that set up points. Now,
you know you're acting like you don't know. I said the club on close show. This flow is gonna bring more dough. You know what you're acting like you don't know.
When we got together to do this music, the more we became enveloped, we just developed the fellowship through it. There's no pretension, it's friendship. Me nemesis is soon nemesis. Ain't for him, it's just media. See the them, it's just images. With the shit, it's no gimmicks. This is blood in and blood out. When it's beef, you just gotta know when the blood in and blood out. If there's a problem, we solve it. We don't resolve it. It usually just evolves into one big brawl, and we all get involved in it. We should all get a merit. This must be we inherit and wear it like a badge of honor. Pass it around and share it and let it go to whoever's holding the most current beef on their shoulders. And the soldiers got the backs and it's over. But tonight we ain't coming here to beef with nobody. We came to party. Thanks, Cash is a Mr. Ferrari, so it's shady at the Miss Ass. Back in that ass, you was asking Miss on what kind of philosophic possession is that?
You know you're acting like you don't know. I said the club on close show. This flow is gonna bring more dough. You know what you're acting like you don't know. I said you know you're acting like you don't know. I said the club.
No, not exactly. I'll tell y'all how this shit went down.